Hey guys, thanks for checking in with STOP. When it comes to the environment, we have to win. There really isn't another option. And part of winning is convincing people that climate action is important. And I know that can sometimes be an uncomfortable, awkward moment where that person gives you strange or confused looks. In order to even just be brave enough to voice your own opinion, first, you have to talk. And talking about climate change is hard, especially if you're doing it with someone who doesn't even think it exists. In Australia, climate deniers exist. It's 8% of the population, which is more than double the global average of 3%. A survey conducted in America showed that 72% of people believed that global warming was happening, and yet only 35% of people were talking about it. Meanwhile, 99.9% of scientists and other smart people believe there is a connection between the brain and the mouth. So, let's use some of the 100 muscles to talk, including our tongues. We're talking to Rebecca Huntley, who's a researcher of social trends, has a PhD in gender studies, and is an author of a book on how to talk about climate change. Hi, Rebecca. So, can you please tell me about your book, but also why you wrote it?
So my book's called How to Talk About Climate Change in a Way That Makes a Difference. As a social researcher, I'd seen in Australia high levels of concern around climate for a long time. And for me, that was a really kind of clear call from a younger generation for older generations to do something. So I kind of had a sense of both personal and professional obligation to do something about it. I take what I already do, which is kind of understanding how people think and feel and how to communicate to different kinds of groups of people to get them to do things. How often have you had a conversation with a friend or family member or colleague about climate change? No, because people are scared. They don't understand. They're scared because they don't know. And everybody wants to avoid that stuff.
When I talk to someone who I disagree with on climate change, I do want to change their mind, but that's just not how it works, right? So what should I be doing?
Letting go of the idea that you're going to throw everything at this person and force them to think you're right and I'm wrong. The spirit and the approach in which you take those kinds of conversations is important. One of the problems that people have is I don't want to be lectured at. I want to talk with somebody and have a kind of a conversation with understanding is more important than the winning the argument.
All right, so I feel like this sounds like a bit of a silly question, but why do we have to talk about these issues? Couldn't I just keep quiet?
Talking is an action that's critically important. The challenge is breaking the climate silence, right? By making us realise other people are doing it and therefore you feel like there's need for me to do it. So that is really, really important. It's basically millions and millions of different conversations happening all the time, all around our community saying that climate change is happening.
What if I'm not great at remembering stats and percentages and things like that? What should I talk about then?
Yeah, I think the most effective thing is to know what your climate story is and to hone that over time. It's very difficult, to attack somebody's heartfelt story about why they care about climate. And it's really, really difficult to dismiss it. Have your story about why it matters to you.
Right, so if I was affected by the bushfires and the loss of native animals, or maybe I can't play soccer because my football field is flooded, make my story about how it's affecting me. I can see why that would work.
One of the things that's really clear about a lot of the social science evidence is that teenagers are incredibly effective communicators on climate to the older generation. Don't underestimate your ability to be really persuasive communicators to your parents.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, Rebecca.
You're welcome.
So, what are we doing? Here are some things to keep in mind. Don't expect to change someone's mind straight away. Remember that it's a conversation, not an argument. Also, small groups are better, don't come at someone over family Christmas dinner. Also, listen to them. Actually listen. And you can also find your climate story. Then bring in some positivity. Maybe tell them about some of the easy, simple things that you're doing to make change. You can even post about your conversation, not argument. And, I just want to know everything. How'd it go? Who was it with? What happened? Did you refrain from using any uncouth tactics? No manipulation. No fighting. And, as impressive as it might be, no crying on cue. You can use the hashtag STOP2030 or just talking.